Welcome to today's lecture under the Use of English series for JAMB UTME, episode 15. And today our topic is direct speech and indirect speech. Do not forget to activate landscape view, which is activating full screen view by tapping on the icon located at this place that I'm hovering my mouse for the maximum viewers experience. Without wasting much of our time, let's head straight into the lecture outline. Lecture outline: definition and examples of direct and indirect speech, laws that govern the usage of direct and indirect speech, exceptions to the laws, practice exercises from WAEC and JAMB/answers. Quick recap: you will learn the above in this lecture, and I wish you good luck. Direct speech. A direct speech, which is also known as quote speech, is a speech in which we quote the exact word of the speaker. We quote the exact word of the speaker. That's direct speech. It's also referred to as quote speech. We quote the exact word of the speaker. For example, "Are you free now?" You can see that it was placed in quotes. Direct speech. "Are you free now?" Exactly the way the person said it. Asked Ahmed. So Ahmed had asked that, "Are you free now?" So "Are you free now?" Just exactly the way the person states it. Okay, that's direct speech. So Ahmed said, "Are you free now?" That was the way Ahmed expressed it. "Are you free now?" That is direct speech. "Are you free now?" asked Ahmed. Direct speech. "I will play tomorrow," said Ronaldo. Direct speech. That was the way Ronaldo said it. Exactly the way Ronaldo said it. "I will play tomorrow," said Ronaldo. "The policeman asked me to open my boot," said Fumi. Direct. Just direct. The way the person said it. The way Fumi said it. Just the same way. The same word. The same expression. No adding of anything. No adjective. The same form that the person used in expressing it. That's direct speech. "The policeman asked me to open my boot," said Fumi. Quote speech. Just the same way that the person said it. Quote the person. The same way, without changing anything. That's direct speech. The next example here is, "The sun rises in the east," said the professor. That's it. Just the same way the professor said it. The same way the professor expressed it. That's it. Direct speech. And so on and so forth. Moving on. Indirect speech, in contrast. That's the opposite of direct speech, is indirect speech. Indirect speech. An indirect speech, which is also known as reported speech. Reported. You reported it. You report something. Reported speech is a speech in which we paraphrase the word of the speaker. In this speech form, we paraphrase. We change the word of the speaker into our own words. We change the expression of the speaker into our own words. We change the words, some of the words. We paraphrase it. We change the words. That's an indirect speech. It's no longer direct. It's no longer as quoted by the speaker. The statement here said, it usually begins in the past tense with such forms such as, "He said that," "He told me that," "He asked if," "He asked me to," and so on and so forth. You can see it's easy to spot the difference or the differences between a direct speech and an indirect speech, or between a quote speech and a reported speech. So you can see it starts with past tense. Okay, "He said that." You can see it's not indirect. It's not directly the way, it's not directly from the person, and it was not directly stated the same way that the person stated it at first. Okay, "He said that," "He told me that," he asked if," "He asked me to," and so on and so forth. So it's expressed in past tense, and it usually begins with past tense. Moving on, the following rules govern reported speeches. The first rule, which is one, this one you are seeing here, is the first rule. A speech that is in the future tense is reported in the past tense. A speech that is in the future tense is reported in the past tense. So where the problem is, where there is a little difficulty, is the reported speech. So the law governs reported speech. So leave direct speech out of this, or leave quote speech out of this. Reported speech, that's the main cocoa. A speech that is in the future tense is expressed or reported in the past tense. When you want to convert a direct speech into an indirect speech or reported speech, if this direct speech was expressed in the future tense, you express it in past tense, report it in past tense. For example, the direct speech was reported in "I will play tomorrow." You can see will is a future tense. Okay, will is a future tense. "I will play tomorrow," said Ronaldo. This is a direct speech reported in what? Future tense. They use will. You can trace the arrow down and look at the statement in the bracket. When we want to convert this to a reported speech or to an indirect speech, we paraphrase this, and remember, since it was expressed in future tense, we are going to use what to report it? Past tense, according to the first law. Reported speech. Ronaldo said that he would play the next day. Remember, we said at first that reported speech is expressed or begins with past tense. You can see, look at the example. Ronaldo said that. Ronaldo said that. Ronaldo tell me, see, Ronaldo said that. It's no longer direct. Ronaldo said that he would play the next day. Then, since we are converting it towards a reported speech, we convert the what? The future tense, which is will. Obviously here, the past tense of will is what? Would. So it's expressed in would, past tense. So therefore, Ronaldo said that he would play the next day. We are going to talk more about the laws, but this is the first law, okay? Future tense changes to what? Past tense when reporting or when converting to a reported or indirect speech. Take my lecture on tenses if you have not, to have a smoother understanding of this lecture. All my lectures are interwoven. All my lectures are intertwined. You need this for this. You need that for that. You need all my lectures, okay? Especially the ones that precede the other, okay? So take my lectures, okay? That's why all my lectures were named with episode, okay? From episode 1 and so on and so forth. Moving on. Number 2, the second law governing reported speech. It states a speech that is in the present tense is reported in the past tense. The first one we dealt was future tense, okay? Which was reported in what? Past tense. A speech that is in the present tense, that's the direct speech, is in the present tense. We report it in what? The past tense. So have it in your mind that a speech that is in present tense and future tense, you report both in what? Past tense. That's when you want to convert it to indirect speech or reported speech. You report both in what? Past tense. Let's look at the example we have here. The direct speech is, the exam is over, said the student. Notice is here is the verb. And what tense is it in? It's in the present tense. Okay, is a present tense verb. So according to the second law of reported speech, what are we supposed to report the speech in? Or we want to convert it to an indirect speech. What tenses are we supposed to use? Past tense. So let's do the reported speech now. Reported. The student said that the exam was over. So is changed to what? Was. The present tense here is changed to what? Was, which is what? A past tense. Moving on to the next. We say, Fumi asked if I was free then. Fumi asked if I was free then. We didn't use are here again. We now use was, which is a past tense, the past of are. The past tense of are, that's what we use here. Past tense, correct. Or you can also express it as Fumi asked if I was free now. The tense remained constant. The tense remained constant, which is that was. You must convert it to past tense. No matter the one you decide to choose, the first one or the second one, the tense remain constant. Moving on. The third law that governs reported speech. It states a speech that is in the past tense is reported in the past perfect tense. So when the direct speech is in past tense, you report it in what? Past perfect tense. Or you convert it to indirect speech by using a what? Past perfect tense. Let's look at example. The first example we have here, the direct speech states, the policeman asked me to open my boot, said Joseph. This is a direct speech as stated by Joseph, as quoted by Joseph. What did you notice here? What tense was this speech expressed in? Or this speech has been expressed in what tense? It's expressed in a past tense. You can see asked here. The past tense verb asked. The past tense of asked. So according to the law, converting it to reported speech, we are supposed to use what tense? Past perfect tense. So the reported speech goes, Joseph said that. Remember, you start an indirect speech or a reported speech with past tense. Joseph said that the policeman had asked him to open his boot. So our tense here, our past tense here was converted towards past perfect tense. Had asked is a past perfect tense verb form. What? A complete and correct reported speech. Reported of this one. Reported the quote of Joseph. The Joseph quote was reported here. Moving over to the next. More examples on the third law. That the direct speech states, the exam ended 2 days ago, said the lecturer. The exam ended 2 days ago, said the lecturer. What tense is this direct speech expressed in? This direct speech was expressed in what? A past tense, because the past tense verb here is what? Ended, okay? Ended is the past form of end, okay? Past tense. Converting to reported speech in accordance with the third law, it says, the lecturer said that the exam had ended 2 days before. Remember, when it's expressed in past tense, you do what? You express or you report the indirect speech or the reported speech in past perfect tense. So the reported speech here is in what? Past perfect tense. Had ended is a past perfect tense form of verb. Moving on. Note something very, 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 very vital. Yesterday changes to previous day. If you notice the examples, that the previous examples we've had, there were some changes when converting from quotes to reported speech. Yesterday changes to previous day. So when there is yesterday in the direct speech, the reported speech or the indirect speech, you change it to previous day. Now changes to then. When there is now in the direct speech, you change it to then in the indirect speech or in the reported speech. Today changes to that day. When there is today in the direct speech, when converting to reported or indirect speech, you change it to what? That day. Tomorrow changes to next day. When you have tomorrow in the direct speech, when converting to indirect or reported speech, you change it to next day. Ago changes to before. When there is ago in the direct speech, when converting to indirect speech, you change it to before. So you have to put this at the apex of your what? Your memory. And so on and so forth. So these are the most common one, the most common in exams and JAMB UTME exams and WAEC, okay, GC. So have this at your fingertip. Yesterday changes to previous day, now changes to then, today changes to that day, tomorrow changes to the next day, ago changes to before, and so on and so forth. Moving on, there are two exceptions to the third rule. The third rule, there are two exceptions to it. When you say that there are exceptions to rules, it means that some situations escape that rule, does not obey that rule. There are some special situations that does not obey that rule, that does not go in accordance with the rule. The first is intentionally reported speech in the present tense. Common in what? Narration. When you intentionally report speech in the present tense, it is very common in narration. It is an exception to that rule, the third rule. Remember the third rule, which states when the direct speech is expressed in the past tense, you do what? You express the reported or indirect speech in past perfect tense. Intentionally reported speech in what? Present tense. So in narration, it's very common in narration when a story is being narrated or when a piece of art is being narrated, okay? So it's very common there. So when they express a direct speech. They express quote speech in present tense form. They express direct speech in present tense form. It's an exception to the rule. Instead of expressing a speech that should be in the past tense form into a past perfect form of verb of tense, instead of expressing a speech that is in the past tense form into a past perfect form of tense or of verb, they express it in present tense. Okay, such a speech begins with, he says that, he tells me that, he asks if. Can you see? So they report it in what? In present tense. It's very common in narration. So let's look at the examples. The first example we have here is the student says that the exam is over. Correct. Is a narration. Okay. It's narration and is an exception to the rule. That third rule. That a direct speech in past tense should be reported in past perfect tense. The second example we have here says the lecturer says that the exam ended 2 days ago. And so on and so forth. You can see it was expressed in what? In present tense, because it's what? Narration. So this narration is timeless, so it can't be changed. Okay, we don't change the tense in narration. This is an exception to the rule. Okay, so you have to what? Be aware of this in your exams. Okay, so when you see such in your exam, you can take this, or you take the present tense form. That present tense form usually ends in s. Take note of that. It's not the student say that the exam is over. No, it usually ends in s. The student says that the exam is over. The man thinks that the exam is over. The principal likes the students. It always ends in s, the present form. The second exception to that rule, the third rule, is when the statement that is reported is timeless in application. What does it mean that a statement is timeless in application? It does not change over time. It remains the same over time. It does not change over time. It's so perfect. When you say something is timeless, it shows that that thing is so perfect. It's so sacrosanct. It should not be altered. It should not be touched. It should not be changed. In both cases, we leave the statements as they are without altering the tenses. Timeless statement. Let's look at the examples next. The first example we have here says, my father said that in Anambra, rain falls heavily in June. Falls. Instead of us to use a past perfect tense to express or to report the direct speech by my father, we use what? false, a present tense ending in S. The next example says, the professor said that the sun rises in the east. Correct? Rises, rises, a present tense form of verb ending in S. Reported in a present tense form of verb ending in S. The next example here says, the pilot said that the harmattan disrupts flights every year. Okay? Disrupts is the present tense form used here, ending in S. Disrupt is a present form, but disrupts is the kind of form you use here to express timeless statement. Okay? So this is correct. So when the statement or the direct speech is reported in a present tense form of verb which end in S, it's correct. Very common in narration. Okay? These examples have statements that are timeless in application. It's timeless in application. It does not end. It does not change over time. Okay? It's perfect. Okay? It does not need any change. It's sacrosanct. It does not need to be touched. It's untouchable. With this, we have come to the end of direct and indirect speech. Let's look at some exercises. This question was brought from JAMB UTME 2000/2005/2010. The instruction says, pick the most appropriate alternative. Number 1. My father told me that I spent my last holiday in Ibadan. My father told me that I spent my last holiday in Ibadan. A. Shall. B. Will. C. Had to. D. Have to. What's your answer? My father told me that I spent my last holiday in Ibadan. You answered right. The correct option is C. Had to. My father told me that I had to spend my last holiday in Ibadan. Number 2. After a day or two, my cousin dash if I dash visited the zoo. After a day or two, my cousin dash if I dash visited the zoo. A. Asks/have. B. Asked/had. C. Asked/have. After a day or two, my cousin dash if I dash visited the zoo. You answered right. The correct option is B. Asked/had. After a day or two, my cousin asked if I had visited the zoo. Number 3. He said that dash. He said that dash. A. He saw her yesterday. B. He had seen her yesterday. C. He saw her the day before. D. He had seen her the day before. What's your answer? He said that dash. You answered right. The correct option is D. He had seen her the day before. He said that he had seen her the day before. These are the answers. What did you score? A quick recap of the lecture says, a direct speech, which is also known as quote speech, is a speech in which we quote the exact words of the speaker. For example, are you free now? As said by who? Ahmed. Are you free now? Asked Ahmed. The same way Ahmed asked. An indirect speech, on the other hand, also called reported speech, is a speech in which we paraphrase the word of the speaker. We paraphrase the words of the speaker by changing the word into our own words by following the rules of what? Reported speech. Okay? The 3 rules that govern reported speech includes 1. Future tense is reported in what? Past tense. 2. Present tense is reported in past tense. 3. Past tense is reported in past perfect tense. Do not forget the expression to the rule, which is the common one in narration, during narration, where a reported speech is reported in a present tense form or using a present tense form of verb. And the present tense form of verb use is the form that ends in S. Another exception to the 3rd rule is the expression that is timeless in its action, which denotes a perfect expression, an expression that cannot be changed, that should not be changed, that looks so perfect, that should not be touched, an untouchable expression. That's a timeless expression, or that's a timeless direct speech. Thank you so much for taking this lecture. Do not forget to subscribe and follow for more at Nkwado Augustine across all social media platforms. Do you have any question or knowledge gap? Do well to drop your questions and knowledge gaps on the comments, and I will do justice to your questions and knowledge gap. At this point, I'm out.